Hey guys, Knife Detector here. And as I told you before in earlier videos this week, I have this week off, so I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm going to be putting out probably between 2 and 4 videos this week. Actually, this is going to be my third video this week. I might put out one more next week, and I'm going to go back to my regular schedule of putting up videos on Thursdays. So if this is the first time looking at my channel, guys, I usually make videos of antique knives and vintage knives and all types of knives that arouse my interest and curiosity. If I see a modern knife that I really like, I usually do a video on that. But my channel is a library of videos for vintage knives. You might see a knife your granddaddy had, your grandmommy had, or that your dad or an uncle had, and that you lost track of over the years. So it's a working library of knives, guys, because knives, I believe, are a conduit to conversation starters, making connections with people, and in general, making friendships, and they're good conversation starters. So I went to the flea market again today, and as I've mentioned, it's the Don West Flea Market. It is in Donna, Texas, in South Texas, and what we have these wonderful people who come to escape their weather in the north. They're winter Texans, we call them, and they come over here because the temperature over here is much more agreeable to them. And occasionally, you know, I spot some cool knives with these folks. So when that happens, I snap it up as quickly as I can. And today I bought this guy for $3. And what this is this is a Remington UMC RS3333 vintage scout knife. And if this knife were new, of course, it wouldn't have chips. There would be a lot of detail here in the shield, and this can opener would be complete. There would be a hook section that goes out to here, and it would have a sharp end over here. But that's missing. That's been broken off. Guys, this knife tells a great deal of stories, guys. The stories this knife can tell, I can just tell you right offhand, you know. This knife was used a lot, and this knife was loved a lot, and this knife was carried a great deal. It makes me wonder if this was carried by a Boy Scout, and maybe that Boy Scout later on joined the military and was in World War II, because I think this knife dates back between mid-20s to mid-30s, possibly late 40s, spanning the time period that might have gone into World War II. So this knife may have been carried by a soldier too. It just gives me that vibe, guys, when I look at this knife. Let's look at some of this wear, and I'll explain to you what I mean. First of all, let's look at the blade. This blade has been used. This knife has been used probably as a utility knife, maybe some whittling, cutting all sorts of things. It has been sharpened. This knife has been used. And check this out. It still has snap, guys. It's been about 80 years, and this knife still has snap. Notice that big chip right there where it was dropped at one point, right? I believe this knife used to also have a lanyard loop that has long since disappeared and has broken off years ago. Let's take a look at this bottle opener / flathead screwdriver. Notice how some of the edges are round, or the two edges are rounded off a little bit. This flathead screwdriver has had some use. Somebody got a lot of use out of this, guys. It's got a little twist to it. See how it's at an angle? I think it was made that way, but it could be that somebody put a twist on it. Also has snap, by the way. Check out this awl. Notice how this awl even has a slight chip right there on the edge. This awl has been used, gentlemen and ladies. So somebody used this knife. It snaps open really nicely. Let's hear that again. Check that out. Let's close that one, so we'll talk about the can opener. Can you believe that after about 70 or 80 years, this knife still has snap, guys? Now, somebody broke this can opener off, and my thinking is that they probably broke it off while using it, because they used it quite a bit. Somebody used this as a camp knife, survival knife. Somebody put part of their own self into this knife. Part of somebody's spirit is in this knife, guys. And this is what excites me about knife collecting, when you find something like this. Now, I don't consider this knife to be something that I'm going to keep for myself. I am going to put this up because this would make a good parts knife if somebody's looking for parts for this rare model. I'm going to start it at $9.99, and if that's all I get, then great. If not, then that's fine. But $9.99 will cover the cost I paid plus shipping, so I'm going to start it there. And this thing looks like it broke off pretty cleanly right there. Broke off clean. But let me show you something else. See this huge chip right here? You see how the edge of this chip is rounded off? and smoothed out, what that tells me is that after this chip happened, somebody continued to carry it in their pocket. So sometimes in today's modern hectic world, today's youth, and when I say youth, it could mean anybody that maybe has this same mentality, or maybe somebody who's under the age of 30. But anyhow, it could be somebody who has the mentality that if something breaks, you throw it away. A lot of people have since lost that innate understanding that just because something is not perfect, that it can still be useful. It can still be useful. So somebody continued to carry this, even though it's chipped really badly. There's that huge chip right there. Notice how smooth that is, guys. That edge right there has been rounded off. Somebody continued to carry this in their pocket for years. Somebody's grandfather probably had this, and then it went off in all of their items and collections. And the people that came and are selling this, items like these, they're Winter Texans. They come from Minnesota. They come from Wisconsin. And I think the folks that sold this to me, I think they actually come from Wisconsin. So someone out there probably had this in their collection and passed on. And a little bit of them, I think, is still in this bad boy. But anyhow, I wanted to share this with you. I am going to be putting that up for sale tonight, probably in the next 20 minutes or so, and I'm gonna put it at $9.99 and see what happens. Check it out. It's got a crack in it. It's not a perfect knife, but it is to me a beautiful knife, because this tells a story. And just like I've said many times in my channel, knives tell stories if you find the right one. All right, this is Knife Detector signing off, saying Merry Christmas to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to put out another video before Christmas comes, but if it does, Merry Christmas to you, and remember the reason for the season. Stay sharp, my friends.